What up, world? You already know what time it is. Favorite co-host, Podcast Pack, back with another episode of Successful Habits. And as always, I'm here with the man with the plan himself, Coach D West. What's going on with you today, Coach?
Man, not too much. Everything good on your end?
Man, I can't call it, man. Everything good, man. I think I had a really good week. If you're watching this episode, it's Monday, but today for us is Saturday. Yeah, that's how crazy my week was. I don't even know what day of the week it is, but I had a pretty good week, productive week for sure, for sure. I'm excited to record this episode. We'll talk about that here in a second. What about you? How you doing today, man?
Same, man. I'm feeling great. Had a birthday yesterday, so thankful to see another year around the world. Thankful to be here. Grateful to be where I am. So, it's just an everyday grind. The season is right around the corner. Practice has officially been on the way. So we just been practicing, grinding, man. Just day to day grind, man. But I'm feeling great, and I'm happy and excited to do this episode.
Yeah, for sure, man. Happy birthday to you. Before we get into the episode, I do want to talk about a couple of things. So, number one, welcome to the first official episode of season two. We decided to go ahead and kick off season two right before NBA tip off, which is Tuesday, October the 21st. When I say it's been a long couple of months without basketball, man, I can't stress it enough, man. How you feeling about the upcoming season, coach? I mean, whether it be NBA, college, high school, whatever.
Man, I think the season gonna be exciting. I think basketball this year is gonna be, man, every year it just seems like basketball just continues to take another step as far as, evolution of the game wise. Like it just continues to get better. And I think this year is gonna be the same thing. Basketball is gonna be great NBA wise and as far as college as well. So I think it's gonna be a fun season.
Most definitely. So before we get into NBA side of things, for those of y'all who don't know or haven't caught the first couple of episodes, you're a high school basketball coach. So my question for you is, what does a successful season look like for you and your guys?
I know a lot of coaches like to focus on win, but for me, most importantly, I want to focus on the growth of them. I want them to develop properly. I want them to know how to play basketball, just simple things like that. And I think winning is a byproduct of those things. So just continue to the success will be measured in the growth, how far and how much we grow from game to game and from now to the end of the season. And if we continue to do the right things each and every day, then we can expect good outcomes in the end.
For sure, for sure. How did you guys finish last season?
Last season we were made it to the playoffs, ended up getting put out first round. So, we look to build on that younger team on varsity and then the ninth graders, kind of the same thing, just young, kind of inexperienced. So
For
this
sure.
year gonna be a little better both ends, both ways, varsity and ninth grade. So I'm just excited to see how it turn out.
Most definitely, man. Best of luck to you and the guys as y'all get ready to prepare for y'all season as well. So this is probably gonna be a pretty lengthy episode, especially to kick off the season. We got a lot to talk about as far as basketball is concerned. So we'll just jump straight into it. The first thing I want to talk about today is I don't know, have you seen the new NBA rule changes that they wanted to instill this season?
I have not.
So we'll talk about the two most pressing ones. So number one is the heave rule. So any shot taken from 36 feet or farther within the final 3 seconds of the first three quarters will be counted as a team attempt and not an individual one. How you feel about that?
I think it's pretty good, especially for those who, shooting good percentages and you're
Yeah,
really
for
just
sure.
taking that shot to kind of just help your team, really. So it's kind of the NBA kind of tossing the guys a bone.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you have guys who trying to get in the 50, 40, 90 club,
For sure.
percentage wise, if you know what that is, free throws, 3 pointers, overall field goals. But yeah, so, you got players trying to get in the 50, 40, 90 club. So just kind of help them out. So I think that's pretty cool rule.
Yeah, I agree with you for all the same reasons. I think that it definitely doesn't hurt the game at all. I think that if anything, you'll see. I mean, it's not like it's gonna change people's shooting percentages by a lot. I mean,
Right, right.
36 feet, I mean, it's pretty far from the goal. It ain't too often you're gonna see people just the same person over and over chucking those shots, unless your name's Stephen Curry. You know what I mean? So that was one of the rules. Now this one's major, honestly. High fiving shooters is a foul now. So the new
Mm.
rule is it penalizes defenders for making contact with a shooter's shooting hand, wrist, or arm after the ball has been released, even on the follow through. Talk to me. How you feel about that one?
As a shooter, I like the rule. As a fan, it's kind of like, Because how much does it really affect? How much? Now, don't get me wrong. I know the follow through is important, but how much does it really affect if the ball is left in your hand and I kind of tap you? You know what I mean? Like, how much does
Mhm.
it really affect? But I guess it's kind of fun to see it play out. As a player, I definitely would want it because, for us, it's just like I'm shooting the ball. I should be able to land, which, the
Yep.
NBA did something about landing space, which is great. I should be able to land. I should be able to follow through with the two things that I want to do as a player. So it's not bad.
So I'm on the other side of that. I'm with you on
Okay.
the landing space. If you violate landing space, that's how people get hurt.
Okay.
I feel like high fiving the shooter. We always came from an era where the hand was part of the ball. I feel like high fiving the shooter after the ball is already gone. I feel like as a shooter myself, I would appreciate the rule, but I feel like the game has already been slowed down with all the tic tac foul calls we already got.
Mhm.
And then you add this, I think it's just I just don't want it to turn into a free throw contest. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So I think that's my biggest worry about that particular rule is I don't want it to get to a point where you basically take away any advantage the defense might have. Because I mean,
Right.
granted, the NBA's business is entertainment. At the end of the day, we want to see fast paced game. We want to see a lot of points. But I think that if it turns into a free throw contest, is I think it's bad for ratings. That's my thoughts on it. So I'm excited to see, especially that particular rule. I want to see how it plays out. I'm sure we'll see exactly how it's gonna go immediately as soon as the season starts. That's
Right.
one of those rules where we're gonna find out real fast if this was a good change or a
Yeah.
bad one. So we'll
For
see how
sure.
that goes.
For
Yeah.
sure.
But so the bulk of today's episode is going to be about, honestly, it's going to be about some rookie production as far as the preseason was concerned. And then we're going to talk a little bit about some of the NBA awards that we give out every single year. And then last but not least, we'll give our predictions as far as opening night is concerned. So without further ado, let's get into the rookie preseason production talk. So we'll talk about a couple of averages as far as a couple of rookies, some big name rookies coming into the season. So number one, we got to go with our guy Coop. The world knows at this point you're high on him, which through the preseason I can see why.
Mhm.
So Coop played 4 games in the preseason. He shot 39% from the field, 31% from three. He averaged 11 points, 4.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and almost 1 block. Do you think that he's living up to the expectations that you have for him, or what do you think he needs to add to his game to elevate?
As far as my expectations is concerned, this is kind of what I am envisioning him to be coming into his first year. And like he talked about in the press conference, you kind of get a feel of what type of player he is. At the end of the day, the kid is a winner. Like regardless of individual accolades, individual stats, the kid is a winner. Like the first thing he talked about in his press conference, and he's a number one draft pick. Keep this in mind.
Mhm.
Most number one draft picks, they go to a team to be the guy. They go to a team to be the franchise changer, right? His situation is unique. As he talked about in the press conference, he just kind of elaborated that right now he's just trying to be the best teammate to Anthony Davis, right?
For
He's
sure.
just trying to be the best sidekick, make his life easier, basically. And that just speaks a lot. Like the kid is just a winner. And so I envision him coming into the season averaging around 13, 14, 15, somewhere in
Mhm.
that ballpark amount of points. Probably 5 or 6 rebounds, 4 or 5 assists. He's a little bit of he's gonna do it all. And I think his ceiling is so high just because he's a sponge and because he's a winner.
If you had to give him a comp, somebody to compare him to, do you think we've ever seen somebody like Coop before?
Um, it's kind of hard to compare him because his game, but if I just had to compare him, he kind of reminds me of Paulo, to be honest with you.
That's a good
Just because
comp
his size, the way he can handle the ball.
for sure.
I think his IQ is high. I just think the kid got a lot of upside. Period. I think he's
Definitely, he
big
definitely.
body,
Yeah, I
physical.
think he definitely has a lot of shades of Paolo in his game for sure, for sure. He can space the floor, he can stretch it, but he would rather operate in the midi.
Mhm.
Like you say, he get a lot of rebounds. He willing to get the team involved, things like that. So, me personally, I'm with you. I think this is exactly what we expected him to do. I think he's gonna be a great plug and play player for the Mavericks. Really, anything that they need him to do, I'm sure that he'll be able to produce. He even played in the last preseason game that they had. They had him at starting PG.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. I'm excited to see just how much he can bring to the table, because the expectations are high being the number one draft pick. I don't think for me personally, I never expected him to be a 30-point per game scorer.
Right,
You
right.
know what I mean? Me personally, I look at him as like a Mr. Intangibles, but like an elite one though, like probably one of the best you've seen so far.
Yeah. And notice, like, I compare him to Paulo, but it's kind of like, some of the things that he does in his game. He's not the scorer that Paulo
Right,
is right now, but
right.
he gives you flashes of him just being at that size, being able to handle the ball, control the team.
And at six what, 6'9", 6'10", with that kind of ball handle, I mean, you gonna score. Eventually, 3, 4 years from now, I'm sure he'll be averaging dub plus easily. Minimal shots, pretty efficient from the field. So excited to see more from Coop this season. The next person on the list is Ace Bailey. So Ace played 3 games in the preseason. He shot 59% from the field, 42% from the three. He averaged 16 points, 4.5 rebounds, 1.3 assists, 1.7 steals. What does he need to elevate his game, or is he living up to the expectation?
I think so far he's living up to the expectation. He kind of showed the world what type of talent that he is and can be in this league. And I've always thought that he has a professional like game just because his shot making ability, he can take and make tough shots. Where I wanted to see growth from him going into the year, and of course it's preseason, so he still, is developing and growing. I would like to see how he can make his team better, how he can
For
make
sure.
people around him better. Because the great players, they are great individually, but the great players they make people around them better as well. So that's just something I want to see in his game, and it might not be for his first year, it might not. But I
For
just
sure.
wanna see how long it takes for him to develop their skill because, you can't win it without a team, and I'm pretty sure winning is something that he wants to do. So how can you elevate the people around you?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think for me, Ace Bailey is definitely exceeding my expectations right now. I know in college at Rutgers he could fill it up, but I thought that coming to the NBA, playing against grown men, bigger bodies, quicker, faster, stronger, I thought the defense would affect him a lot more. But I ain't gonna lie to you, man. That young man is a tough shot taker and a tough shot maker. His ability to score off 1-2 dribbles, catch and shoot, come off screens. It's been a while since we've seen a rookie come into the league and be able to really fill it up like this. And then being 6'9", 6'10", I mean, he's shooting right over the top of defenders. But I'm like you though. I think I definitely need to see a lot more of him getting his teammates involved. Like he gonna be able to create his own looks, but can you create for the next man too?
Yeah.
And then obviously I want to see what kind of effort he gonna put into the defensive end every single night. Well, that's Ace Bailey. If you had to give an NBA comp of Ace, who would you say?
Man, that's a
By the
tough
way,
one.
by the way, my comp for Cooper Flag was probably Andre Kirilenko, bro.
Okay.
AK-47.
Yeah.
Real bucket. Real bucket, does a little bit of everything. Same height, same size, same ball handle. Kirilenko could probably get to the cup more at will than Coop, but yeah. So as far as Ace Bailey, who you got as far as his comp is concerned?
I would put Ace Bailey. It's gonna might sound crazy, but kinda Kevin Durant-ish type of deal. Like kind
That
of
ain't as crazy as you think it is,
yeah, a
bro.
wing scorer type of deal. I think it's a lot of similarities there.
I agree with you 100%. That would be my comp for Ace Bailey as well. Well, number 3, next up on the list. This one actually, I'm not gonna say I wasn't a hater on this young man, but he still got a lot to prove to me. It's VJ Edgecombe. So he played 3 games in the summer league. I'm sorry, in the preseason. Shot 43% from the field, 25% from three. He averaged 16.7 points, 4.6 rebounds, 3.6 assists, and 2 steals. What does he need to elevate his game, or is he living up to the expectation?
I think right now for him, he's currently living up to the expectations. I think coming in, he's going to be in a situation where he's surrounded by some really good players. I think the 76ers, I think they're going to be kind of healthy this year. They're going to kind of, be better than they were last year, but you're surrounded by Maxey, Paul George, and B, some pretty high level players that can play in some high level basketball games. So it's kind of like he would feed off that. I think it would help him grow. I think it would help mature him. And I think for that team, it's good to have some fresh, young, athletic
For
legs that
sure.
can kind of, guard, that can kind of stretch it.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that was a good pickup. I think it'll be a good fit. And I think going into this year, he will have a pretty solid year.
Yeah, for sure. I think me personally, I definitely want to see him be able to stretch it a little bit more. I think for me personally, from what I've seen so far, the way he scores, I think he's gonna struggle a little bit in the half court until he can stretch it a little bit more. He had 26 in his last preseason game, last night actually, and 20 of the points came in the paint or in transition. I also want to see him buy in on the defensive end because I mean he has that athleticism to be able to guard a lot of different positions and a lot of different dynamic scores. But it's a mindset thing. You know, we all know being a dog on defense, that's it start right here and right here. So I'm definitely he surprised me being able to break out and have a 26-point preseason game. Granted, it's preseason, but I mean the starters were out there, you know what I mean? And on top of that, Embiid played too, and he still was able to go and contribute in that manner. So definitely want to see some more of him being able to stretch the floor a little bit, work on that jump shot, and lock in on defense. Before we get to the next rookie, Embiid played. I don't know if you caught any of the game or seen any of the highlights. Looked like he lost a lot of weight. He got a little bit more boogie to his game.
Mhm.
And if Embiid can come back healthy and play 65 games this season, man, I don't know. The MVP might be kind of shaky. He gonna put a lot of pressure on people like Wemby, people like Jokic, people like Chet. He gonna put some pressure on the big people like Giannis. So I'm excited. I definitely want to see. I think it's overdue that we see a healthy Embiid. I'm pulling for him. So next rookie on the list is Walter Clayton. He played 4 games in the preseason, shot 34% from the field, 18% from the three, averaged 11 points, 3.5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1.25 steals. So with him coming from the big season he had in college, do you think he's living up to expectations in the NBA, or what do you think he needs to add to his game?
I think so far he had a pretty good showing preseason. College careers, once you get to the NBA, man, like it's kind of don't matter. Like in a sense, like we seen some people who were college legends and didn't work out in the NBA, and
For
we've also
sure.
seen some people who they weren't the best in college, but they're a better professional than they were in college. So you kind of just gotta let that life go. Like not in a
Hmm.
sense, like as a fan, you can't expect the same thing that you
For
seen
sure.
from him in college. So I said that to say he looks like a professional point guard out there. It looks
Hmm.
like he know how to make the read, he makes the right passes, plays hard. I like what I've seen so far.
Yeah. So before we go into Walter Clayton's NBA comp, give me your NBA comp for VJ.
He kind of reminded me of Victor Oladipo when he was coming out of Indiana.
In what ways?
Scoring rise, athleticism, versatility. I think Victor was a better scorer. Victor was a dog when he was coming
Yeah, for
out.
sure.
Victor was a dog. He probably was a little better scorer than he is, but he gives me Victor Oladipo characteristics.
Yeah, for sure. So for me, as far as Walter Clayton Jr. is concerned, number one for me, I think he need to be a little bit more of a dog on the defensive end, especially being 6'3". At 6'3", you either got to shoot the lights out or be able to really guard your man, or both, right? Especially if you want to have a long lasting NBA career, where in a world where the PG not getting no shorter, bro. They all 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". You know what I mean? You got Luca 6'7", Shea 6'6", 6'7". You got K 6'6", 6'7". So for me, I definitely got to see him. I definitely want him to see him do more things on the defensive end and be a little bit more consistent with his jumpers. I think he needs to take better shots. I think a lot of the shots he took in the preseason was still like very much those same shots he was taking in Florida, and we know the type of shots he was taking. That we just got to see you take a couple of better shots. For me, as far as his NBA comp is concerned, I think he could it with a couple of years and a little bit more experience and some work ethic. I think he could be like a Fred Van Vliet kind of player. What about you? You got any NBA comps for Walter Clayton?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you saying. He kind of puts me in a mind frame of like Tyrese Maxey kind of.
Hmm.
But I'm right there with you. Maybe not as good as Maxi is
Right.
currently. Think about Maxi coming out,
Hmm.
well, if you remember, Maxi wasn't the best shooter coming out of college either. He kind of worked on that. So he kind of puts me in a Tyrese Maxi kind of mind frame, but I agree with you.
Yeah, for sure. I think he'll just turn out to be a really solid PG if he can, like I said, sit down on defense and take some better shots, facilitate for the guys. So definitely want to look forward to seeing what else he can bring to the game. Next player on the list is Con Knipple. Played 5 games in the preseason, shot 35% from the field, 29% from the three, averaged 11.8 points, 3.4 rebounds, 2.6 assists, and a half a steal. So for me, I definitely think that Conker Nipple is more or less living up to my expectations. I think personally he just needs some more opportunities. He already does a lot of the intangibles. So I think it's just a matter of getting more minutes to get the game experience. Fortunately, he's with the Hornets, so I'm sure he'll get a lot of game experience, but also unfortunately he's with the Hornets and they don't really know what they got going on over there right now. I don't think the team has a clear direction. So whatever he does this season, unless it's super duper exciting like LaMelo Ball, I'm sure it's gonna go under the radar. What about you? How you feel about the production from Con Nipple so far? Anything he need to work on, or is he living up to expectation?
I'm with you. I think he's living up to expectations. I think the thing for him is just going to be just coming that first year, just really focusing on defense and shooting
Mhm.
that three at a high clip. I think if you could do that in the NBA, you could stick.
Yeah, I think that for me, if I had to say NBA comp, I would say early, super duper early, Jalen Brunson. He Nipple can get into the paint real easy. He plays off 2 feet. He's not afraid to get his team involved in offense and things like that. I think he does a little bit more of the intangibles than Jalen Brunson, but as far as his play style, I would say something like a young Jalen Brunson. What about you? You got a comp for him?
I don't really have a comp for him at the
Mhm.
moment. Let me see a little more of him, see how he
Yeah,
kind
for
of
sure.
fits, and then I
I
have
ain't mad at that.
a comp for you.
I ain't mad at that. Next player on the list, we got Jeremiah Fears. I know you spoke highly about Jeremiah Fears as well, a couple of times actually. So early on in the preseason, he played 4 games, 40% from the field, 22% from three. He averaged 14 points, 3 assists, 4 rebounds, and 1.25 steals. What do you need? What does he need to do to elevate his game, or is he living up to your expectations?
So far he had a pretty solid preseason outing. I don't know if he's lived up to my expectations just yet. I just want to see how he fits into their system. What kind of plan they have for him. I think he has a lot of upside. I do think he can see the floor. I think he can be like another version of Trey Young. I think he can shoot the three at a high clip. He can make tough shots. My biggest thing for him is finishing around the paint, continue to get more craft inside the paint, continue to just become inside the arc. Because as a smaller NBA guard, and I know he's 6'4", but in the NBA that's kind of small. In a smaller NBA guard, you got to be super crafty around the rim. You don't want to rely on jump shots every night. You know what I mean? So just kind of just still developing. And I just want to see what kind of system they put him in, especially with those good guards already that they have. Just want to kind of see where he fits in with that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think for me, I definitely want to see him be able to knock down that three ball a little bit more consistently, as well as adding some shooting off the bounce to his game. I know that pre-draft, his as far as the pros and cons are concerned, one of his biggest pros was that he can finish at the rim. He can finish over taller defenders. We seen a lot of that in the preseason, so I don't think he's gonna have any issues with that. I just want to be able to see him be able to shoot it off the bounce a little bit more, knock down some more of those threes. As far as NBA comps are concerned, do you have a comp for Jeremiah Fierce?
I'm gonna give him Trey Young.
That's tough. That's tough. Me personally, I feel like you felt about Conklin. I got to see a little bit more of him before I can really say I seen him enough to give him an NBA comp. But I ain't mad at that. I think he's in a really good situation with the Pelicans because even though they do have a lot of star power over there, I think that they'll find themselves in situations where he can come into the game and contribute. So hopefully he gets a chance to show us what he got. Last but not least, as far as the rookies are concerned, talk about Trey Johnson. So Trey Johnson played 3 preseason games, shot 33% from the field, 25% from the 3-point line, averaged 7 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. I'll be honest, I didn't watch much of Texas last year. So what can we expect from Trey Johnson, and what do you think he needs to add to his game to take it to the next level?
He's another player that I just want to kind of see what kind of system he's going to be in, what the role is for him. Because in college, he was a scorer. He just took and made tough, big time shots when his team needed it. But going transition into the NBA is kind of hard to expect that same thing from him. So it just is. I just want to see what type of role, what type of system he'll be in.
Yeah. So with him being in Washington. I think he's in a very, very similar situation to Con Knipple, where it can be really good and it can also be really bad depending on really their own production. Like the beautiful thing about places like Charlotte and Washington is that it's really like a breeding ground for teams to come and snatch you up from there. So I think he's definitely going to have a lot of opportunities to show us what he can do. So I'm excited to see what else he come, how he comes to the table this season for sure, for sure. So that was our rookies as far as preseason was concerned. Next thing on the table is NBA awards. So definitely want to get into some of these NBA awards because I definitely want to talk about criteria. What do you think should be the criteria for some of these awards? I also want to talk about past winners. I also want us to give way too early predictions on who we think is going to win these awards this season and a sleeper. So, without further ado, we'll get into it. The number one most debated award every single season, every single year is MVP. So, last year's MVP winner obviously was SGA. He averaged 32.7 points, 6.4 assists, 1.7 steals. Jokic was second. He averaged 29.6, 12.7 rebounds, 10.2 assists per game. He shot 57.6 from the field and 41.7% from the three-point line. And he came in second place to SGA. And in third place, actually surprised me. I didn't know Giannis was this high in the MVP race last year because everybody was only talking about Jokic and SGA. But Giannis was third. He averaged 30 points, 11.9 boards, and 6.5 assists. My question for you is this: what should be the criteria for MVP?
Well, first I would think individual play and numbers, and then if you have some people similar to those numbers, you have to go to team success. So I do think that plays a part in it as well.
Okay. So when you say team success, we're talking about number of wins and then where ultimately where you land in the seating, right? So let me ask you this: does your roster matter when it comes to where you land in the season at the end of the season?
To an extent. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, I would say yes, it does matter.
Yeah. So I'm of the mind that the criteria for MVP should be how much do you impact winning. Now I know that that's hard to actually quantify and calculate, but in my opinion, you definitely have to take the roster into account. Because I think last year was a really good example. Like, yes, SGA's team had the best record in the league, but he also had probably the best built team in the league as well. Whereas Jokic averaged a triple double, shot 50% from the field, 40% from the 3-point line, and they finished. I want to say they finished top 5 seeds in the Western Conference, which is very very difficult. And they had their roster was nowhere near the Oklahoma City Thunder roster. So for me personally, I understand why. I'm not mad Shea won it. He was the best player on the best team in the league. I'm okay with that. But I don't think that that can be part of the criteria. What about you? Do you think that it should go to the best player on the best team?
It, it's just a tricky situation. I think in his situation, he was the best player on the best team with no other All Stars besides this year, of course.
Mhm,
J Dub made his first All Star appearance.
mhm.
But outside of that, he made it with the young team in the West,
I
the
ain't mad
best
at that.
seed, 65 plus wins. I think that's why he got the nod. So long story short, I do think your roster matters, but when it comes to, wins, if you have the best team in the NBA and you have a player on that team who is averaging 30 plus points and with no other all stars, if you take him off that team, it'll change. I think you have to give him the nod.
So then my follow-up question for you is this. So do you think Tatum got snubbed in 2024 last year, the season before this past season, 2024, because he was the best player on the best team? You think he got snubbed? He didn't even finish top 3 in the MVP race.
Well, his team was just so good. I don't think his team was just too good though.
They was just
Like
way too good,
they
right?
were just too good.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm with you
I
on that one.
mean, I mean, you can make the argument that OKC team is good as well, but that team was
I don't think this OKC last season team was as good as that starting 5 Boston had though.
yeah, they were tough.
Yeah.
It's just a tricky situation, man, and it can go either way. Yeah, I think
I
if you
think I
if you
think
on a
this is
team to
why
win,
I think this is why the MVP debate happens every single year for as long as
yeah,
it does and it gets as serious as it does because it's hard to quantify most valuable.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like value in what? You know what I mean? Like what kind of value do you bring to your team outside of scoring? Like that, I think that's why I was kind of that's why I felt like Jokic should have won it. Because he won it the year prior and his numbers got better. That's number one. But also too, he averaged a triple double.
Mhm.
And it's true that OKC doesn't go without Shea, but I mean, bro, we know the Nuggets don't go without Jokic. We know that for a fact. And OKC has a lot of other dynamic pieces that they can put on the court and get a lot of production from. Denver can't go 9, 10 players deep in the playoff. Last year they couldn't the same way that OKC did. But I ain't mad that Shea won it. I definitely think he deserved it. I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. I definitely think he deserved it. And congratulations to him. So way too early predictions for MVP. Let me hear yours.
I'm gonna go Luka Doncic for
Okay.
my
Why?
MVP. I think the Lakers will finish. They're floating around. If the Lakers can finish top 5 or 6, I think Luka will have a strong case to win. I just think he's gonna come back with the look in his eyes for revenge for getting traded this season. I think he's gonna have a chip on his shoulder. I've been seeing he's been playing all summer. He looks lighter. I think he's going to have a season. If the Lakers can finish anywhere in their top 5 or 6, I think he will be in the top 3 or 4 voters because he would have a lot to do with it.
So I ain't mad at that. I definitely want to see him give a little bit more effort on defense this year. Listen, I'm a huge Luca fan. I believe in Luca Magic. I think if anybody can come and steal an MVP away from people like Giannis, Jokic, and SGA, it's Luca for sure. For sure. For me, my way too early prediction is, I mean, I just can't never, I can never count the big man out, bro. I gotta go with Jokic. I think that he gonna average another triple double again. He probably gonna shoot the same from the field, the same from the 3-point line, and it's gonna make it a tough race again.
All right, but
Like
let
it,
me ask you this.
okay.
So with the Joker's team, so now they're better.
Way better, for sure.
All right. So what if him and Luca have identical numbers and
Then
Joker
I then I
team
would
is above?
say then I would move to what seed did Luka carry the Lakers to? If Luka can finish top if him and Jokic have the same stats and the Lakers can finish top 5 or 6, then I'm gonna give my nod to Luka because it was way harder. He was more valuable to that Lakers team for getting them to where they are.
Even if Joker averaged a triple double?
If Luka also averaged a triple double, then I would say seeding. But
Yeah.
if Luka don't average a triple double, which I mean, if he don't average a triple double, he gonna average somewhere close to one. But so if he can average somewhere close to a triple double and get the Lakers to fifth seed, sixth seed, I think sixth seed will be a stretch. Fifth seed though, I think that he can sneak away with MVP. I wouldn't be mad at that. He would get more points from me for that. Give me your sleeper pick for MVP this season.
Sleeper pick. And so this is a pick that no top, I'm not naming people who are in the top 5 every year. Bron, Giannis, Luka,
Jokic,
Joker. This
SGA,
is a
yeah.
sleeper pick just for the audience, so we can be on the same page. This is someone who's no one is expected to win MVP. I'm gonna go Jalen Brown as my sleeper
That's
pick.
a that's a damn coma pick, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Jalen Brown as my sleeper pick simply because I think everybody is out on Boston. So this my listen to
Mhm.
my sales job. Everybody is out on Boston. Boston just dumped the roster. They're in rebuild mode. Everybody's out on Boston,
For
right?
sure.
So best players hurt. Okay. If Jalen Brown, so let me ask you this. If Jalen Brown can average 20, guard the best person on the floor every night, and his team finishes top 4 or top 4 in the East, do you think he would be in the MVP conversation with no Jason Tatum?
Based on the way that roster is made up, I think that if he can carry that team to top 4, maybe. If he can get them to top 3, for sure, I would say, yeah, he should be in the conversation. He should be in the conversation.
And this is for the audience. Once again, this is just our long shot. No, no, I
So
don't want you. I don't want y'all to think I'm a Boston fan, but this is just a long shot. We're not choosing any of the top
for
guys.
sure.
This is just, our sleeper pick.
So for me, my sleeper pick, I'm gonna have to go with Ant-Man. I know he might not seem like a quote unquote sleeper pick, but keep in mind he's never in the top 5 MVP conversation. He's also super young. I think he only like 23 or 24 years old. But I think that every single year that we've seen him so far, he has added another element to his game. He was already a dog on the defensive end. He might not be he's not Alex Caruso or Davion Mitchell or anybody like that or Drew Holiday, but he's gonna give maximum effort on defense and he can get stops. We know he can finish at the rim. He added a 3-pointer off the bounce to his game last year. And so far, what I've seen in the preseason, he's creating opportunities for his guys a whole lot more. I think that if he can pick up his level of production from last season and continue to carry that Wolves team to the heights that they've been to, I think if they can finish top 3 in the West, not saying that they will, I think if they can, then he'll be in MVP conversations for sure, for sure. That's my sleeper pick for MVP. Um, so next award on the list, Rookie of the Year. So I already know who your Rookie of the Year pick is. We'll talk about it anyway. So last year's winner was Stephon Castle. So my question for you is this: what do you think the criteria should be for Rookie of the Year? So me personally, I think that the criteria should be more so, how do you impact the success of your team? I mean, even though, well, I just leave it at that. That's my thoughts on what the criteria should be. I know it's hard to measure and hard to quantify, but what about you? What should the criteria for Rookie of the Year be?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it should be, impact on winning. I think your team, the situation that your team is in should have a lot to do with it as well. But my pick to win it is Cooper. Now I'm aware that he may not win it because there's other
Mhm,
rookies in other situations that may be able to put up better numbers. And I don't
for
think
sure.
Cooper is chasing numbers. I think he's chasing wins. So when you taking a guy like that, I understand, but that is my pick. I think he will be the best rookie from this year,
Mhm.
just overall game. Um, yeah, so that's my pick.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that. I definitely think that if anybody can, because we know Rookie of the Year is really just about stats. Like the way that the current criteria for Rookie of the Year is really just who averages the most points, honestly. As a rookie, what rookie averages the most points? I think if anybody can change the criteria for a season, is Coop. I think that he has the ability to contribute so much to the Mavs and their success. He'll have a lot of opportunities to contribute so much to the Mavs and their success that he could probably sneak away with, honestly. But my way too early prediction for Rookie of the Year is Ace Bailey. I think that I think he's in a perfect predicament to really fill it up. Like I think I would be surprised if he don't average anywhere between like 16 to 18 points. I would be very, very surprised if he don't if he falls below that. But even if he falls below that to like a 15, 16 points per game type of guy, I think that he'll still be on the high end of what all the rookies are averaging. So that's my way too early prediction. Give me your sleeper pick for Rookie of the Year.
I'm gonna go with VJ.
Okay.
I don't know if he's
Okay.
much of a sleeper because of his, draft pick, but I don't think many people are going to pick him to win. But I do think he's in a situation that could possibly blossom him, especially, just being around superstar, all-star type level talent. So I think that'll kind of help him. It'll help groom him. I think if fit in that system, I think Embiid is going to make the game a whole lot easier for a lot of people on that team if he's healthy.
For
So
sure.
I'm going to go with VJ.
Okay. I ain't mad at that. My sleeper pick is probably gonna be now. Keep in mind, this is a real sleeper pick. Like this is probably a coma pick, just like Jalen Brown was.
Right.
But I say Con Knipple, just because I think he has the ability to contribute a lot of the things that Cooper Flag does, not to the same rate or at the same level, but he has the ability to contribute in the same ways. Like he'll 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 get rebounds, he'll get assists, he'll get steals, he'll get blocks just from playing hard. So I think that it's a long shot, but if I had to say a sleeper, I think Con Knipple. So next award on the list, DPOY. So last year's winner of the Defensive Player of the Year award was Evan Mobley. The runner-ups were Dyson Daniels and Draymond Green. So before we get into criteria, keep in mind, people say that this is a big man award, and they say that because only 8 guards has ever won DPOY. My question for you is this: what should the criteria for DPOY be?
That's a hard that's hard to judge because you can have someone that's really good defensively on the ball, and don't get statistical categories like
Right,
blocks or you know what I mean,
right.
but they impacted the game defensively. So it's a tough criteria, and then you're gonna have big man that always get blocks and get steals often as well. But so I mean, I guess the criteria has to be blocks and steals because there's no way to kind of
Yeah.
gauge, the eye test that you should have won Defensive Player of the Year. But we know we have some great perimeter defenders in the league, though.
In a perfect world, what would you judge it on?
In a perfect world, I would judge it on how well how well you guard. Like it doesn't matter if it's blocks or steals. How much do you impact the game defensively?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Like for me, in a perfect world, if there was a way to quantify these things, I would probably base it on like, you know, how often do you alter shots, force pickups? How often can you take a person out of their spots? How many points do you give up every single night by impact players? You know what I mean? Like if you guard the best player, impact players, how many points are you giving up on a nightly basis to these guys? What is their percentage from the field when you're guarding them? How many positions can you successfully guard? For me, if in a perfect world, those would probably be the things that I judge defensive player of the year on. But we know is really just today is really just blocks and steals. You know what I mean?
I'm
Which is
gonna give you a perfect
unfortunate, but
example. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Someone who I think impacts the game defensively, and we see it every year. Well, we seen it the last couple of years in the playoffs, like Jaden
mhm,
McDaniels. Like he
for
impacts
sure.
the game defensively. Like when he's out there. But will he ever win Defensive Player of the Year? It'll be an uphill battle, right? But just seeing his impact on the game, you can tell. You can tell.
For sure. I think he's more important to that team's defense than Rudy Gobert. But Imma leave that right there where it's at. So give me a way too early prediction for defensive player of the year.
Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, way too early.
My way too early position for defense player of the year. I don't know how you could pick someone else other than Wimby to win defensive player of the year.
For sure.
I'm gonna just say Wimby.
So it's funny you say that because I live in San Antonio. I'm officially a Spurs fan. But Wemby's so crazy that I agree with you. Like he's gonna average like 3, 4 blocks a game. He's gonna
Yeah,
get steals off tip
for sure,
passes. So I would be very surprised if he don't win DPOY this year.
sure.
So the real
I
question
don't
is,
know
give
how
me
you
your
could pick
sleeper pick. Oh,
anyone
go ahead.
else. No, I
Yeah,
was just saying I
yeah,
don't know how you could pick anyone else.
yeah. It's gonna be like I think he a runaway DPOY. It's crazy, bro. So give me your sleeper pick.
I'm gonna go Thompson twin.
Which one?
With the Rockets, I'm gonna go with Amin Thompson. For my sleeper defense player of the year.
Okay,
I know it's
cool.
a long shot because he's a guard, but that's my sleep
In a perfect world, I think
in a
he'll be a
perfect
really good
world.
candidate for it.
Yeah.
So my sleeper pick, coincidentally, is Asar Thompson from the Detroit Pistons.
Okay.
I think that he don't get a lot of love as far as the things he does on the defensive end. He do the same things as his brother. He might even guard just a little bit better. It's just they don't get the prime time TV spots. You know what I mean? It's Detroit. They not gonna play on TV all the time. But I mean, they both of them have high production on defense. So I would say my sleeper pick would probably be Asar Thompson.
I'm gonna give you one more too. I like Chet.
Okay.
I like
Ooh,
Chet.
that's a good one. Now
He's a
he might
great rim
actually have a
protector.
chance.
He a
Yeah.
great rim protector. I like Chet.
I agree with that. I think he might have a chance to actually sneak in there and steal one. I ain't mad at that. All right, so moving on. So this one, we kind of talked about this the other day. We didn't really get too much in depth about it, but coach of the year. Let's talk about coach of the year. Well, last year, Kenny Atkinson won coach of the year. He led the Cavs to a 64-18 record and a top seed in the Eastern Conference, which is interesting because the Thunder went 68-14 and Mark Daigneault did not win coach of the year. But I'm willing to bet it had everything to do with that 20 game, whatever it was, win streak that the Cavs went on early in the season. But regardless, the question is, what do you think the criteria should be for coach of the year? Do you think it should be best record or does improvement play a part?
I think they both play a role in it. I think
Mhm.
record plays a role in it, and I also think improvement from prior seasons. So I think they both play a role in it.
So me, I'm like you. I think improvement plays a huge part, but I also think once you cross a certain threshold of wins, I think that it's a given. You should be a finalist for coach of the year. For me, that threshold is like 62 to 65 wins. Once you cross that threshold, if you're the only one in that threshold, it's you. It should be you.
Mhm.
Because 65 plus wins. First of all, they require 65 games played from your best players in order to qualify for awards. So 65 games won, that's a lot of games. The record is 73-9. So to win 65 games, like the Thunder won 68 games. I don't know how Mark Dagnall didn't win Coach of the Year. But that's not neither here nor there. Definitely think Kenny Atkinson was also deserving of it because they finished with 65 wins, and they did have those big time winning streaks with those 20 games in a row. I think they got it back up to like 13 again after that. So I can see why he won. But way too early prediction for Coach of the Year. Let me hear it.
I'm gonna go with Coach Mosley, the Orlando Magic coach. Here's why. I think they will make a jump. I think he will fill both of those criterias. I actually really like the Magic to finish top one, top two, top three in the East, somewhere in there.
Mhm.
Um, and that would be major improvement from the previous season. I think he's gonna check out that box. I think they have a chance to be really solid team. They already were really good defensively, and Desmond Bain kind of gives them that scoring option they needed on the wing. I think they're going to be a real sleeper in the NBA next year. So give me Coach Mosley to win Coach of the Year.
That's a really good pick because not only did they pick up Desmond Bain, but people got to remember they were missing two starters last year towards the end of the season. Like they were missing Jalen Suggs and they was missing the Wagner brother, the big man. So that's a really good pick. I'm high on the Magic. I think that if they can finish top 2, 3 seeds in the Eastern Conference, I think Coach Moses definitely has a good opportunity to win Coach of the Year because that would be a huge leap from last season. And we already
Yeah,
seen flashes in the playoffs. Like they gonna
right,
play defense. Are
right.
they gonna be able to run some offenses that don't revolve around P5 isolation basketball? I think that's what it's gonna depend on. So my way too early prediction for Coach of the Year is Jason Kidd. So the Mavs finished 10th seed last season. So they have the opportunity to make a huge jump as far as improvement is concerned. I think he has all the pieces that he needs to flip this around and finish maybe what top 5, top 6 in the West. And keep in mind it's the Western Conference. I think if you finish top 5, top 6 in the Western Conference, especially after being 10th seed, I think you did a hell of a job. So that's my way too early pick as far as coach of the year is concerned. Give me your sleeper.
I'm gonna go JJ Redick just
That's
for the
tough.
simple fact that he's gonna be in the West. I think the Lakers are gonna finish, you know, where I said top five, top six. And like we said, we're not choosing none of the best teams in the NBA. They're just a sleeper, a long shot. I'm gonna go JJ Redick.
Okay, cool. I ain't mad at that. I think that you can't go wrong with Luka Doncic on your team. He definitely has the opportunities. He has the pieces. I think they still missing a couple things, but Gabe Vincent looked good on his return. So they also got a bunch of defensive players that they picked up in the offseason. I ain't mad at that. I can see it happening for sure. For sure. I wouldn't be mad. My sleeper pick is Mike Brown though. Now I know, granted, the Knicks are expected to be one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference, but you got to think like this is a to go from previously being a really, really good team and then you change your head coach, I think that that's a hurdle that only really, really good coaches can overcome as far as getting a team that was already established and made a deep run into the playoffs to buy into your system. But I think he walked into a really good situation. I think if those guys are still hungry, they can run the Eastern Conference. They can run the table in the East. So I think Mike Brown will probably be my sleeper pick for coach of the year. So next award on the list is most improved. So last year, Dyson Daniels won most improved. Zubac was second, and Cade Cunningham was third. So what do you think the criteria should be? Should it be strictly stat based or impact on the game or what? In a perfect world.
In the perfect world, probably most improved probably would be stat based. I guess if you have a jump, you have someone who averages 9 points and they go from 9 to 17, 6 and 5, that's kind of it's a big jump. So
Yeah, for sure.
I would say probably stat based for this award, most improved.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's
It's
hard
kind
to
of
measure improvement
a true individual award.
for sure. Yeah, I think it's hard to measure improvement without stats. So I ain't mad at the way it's graded right now. So give me your way too early prediction for most improved. Somebody you seen flashes out of last season, and don't say Sam Hauser.
That's an inside joke. Most improved. Man, that's a tough award. Let me hear yours first. Let me hear yours first.
So my way too early prediction for most improved would probably be Nas Reed.
Okay.
Nas Reed. I think he has the potential to take another leap. Like I think he already took a leap when he went from six man of the year to his production last year. I think he has the opportunity to take another leap to being a very, very, very important piece of that Timberwolves team, especially because Ant really needs him out there on him. So that would probably be my pick for most improved.
All right. I'm gonna go Andrew Nimhard.
Oh, that's a
I'm gonna
good
go
one.
Andrew Nimhard. With no
That's a good one. We definitely
Halliburton.
seen flashes.
Yeah, we seen flashes. No Halliburton this season. He's gonna be the primary playmaker. I think at the one spot. Well, not the one, but he's gonna have the ball a lot of time. Because he plays the combo. I like him to have a big season. Give me Andrew Nimhard.
Okay, cool. My sleeper pick. Listen to this one now. Brandon Ingram. People sleep on
Mm,
Brandon Ingram because he always hurt. But I think if he can stay healthy, he can really put on a show in Toronto. And because his production has been down so bad these past couple of years, I think that he's a good candidate for a good sleeper pick for most improved.
for sure.
You got a sleeper pick for me?
Yeah, I'm giving you Trey Murphy.
We definitely
Giving you
seen
Trey
flashes
Murphy.
from that boy last year.
Yeah. Give me Trey Murphy. Last year was kind of a slept on year just because their team wasn't that good. But I think if Zion can stay healthy, I think they're gonna put a lot, they're gonna put some noise in the West. Not saying they're gonna finish, amongst the best in the West, but I think they got a chance to make some noise, and I think he'll get a chance to show how good he really can be. So give me Trey Murphy.
You think he could be Batman for them?
No, I think Zion will fill that role, but I think he can be an awesome,
Robin.
two second and third option, yeah. Especially with
Yeah, I
Jordan Poole
definitely think
over there.
I think if he solidify himself as the Robin of that team, I definitely think he can win most improved player next season. So that was a good pick. So that does it for our awards and the breakdown and the criteria and way too early picks. So before we let y'all get out of here, because we don't want to take up too much of y'all's time, let's talk about opening night matchups. The season tips off October the 21st. We got Rockets at OKC and Warriors at the Lakers. So let's start with Rockets at OKC. Talk to me. Who you got and why?
Now the Rockets are gonna be pretty good. I'm with everyone. I'm with the hype. They are gonna be pretty good. They're gonna be standing right there at the end. However, give me OKC opening night. This team is still hungry. They're hungry to prove everyone that they still are the best team in the NBA. I think they're young, they're gritty. I just think they're gonna come with it, man. This team just doesn't back down. They defend, and this team is gonna be good again. So give me OKC opening night.
Okay. I ain't mad at that. Me personally, I'm going with the Rockets, and not just for the sake of picking somebody different than you. I don't want to talk about gambling on the show or anything like that, but Vegas got them at -7 and at Vegas got OKC -7.5. That's either disrespectful or bait. Me personally, I like the Rockets. I know they just got together, but when you add KD to a defensive team, good things will happen. And with Twin at the one, they might mess around and have the tallest lineup in the league right now. And it's not only about being tall, but they was already like defensively sound, like I said before. I think they're gonna pick up right where they left off on defense, and then you just throw KD in the mix to make all the tough shots. And I think that's a recipe for success. Plus, like we said on one of our previous episodes, Alpi took a huge leap this summer in FIBA ball. He was able to really will his country deep into those FIBA playoffs. So I don't want to take anything away from the Thunder. They're definitely a really, really good, really, really young team. But I think the Rockets are also really good, really young outside of KD. And I think that if anybody has the roster that's built to slow those young OKC players down, I think it's the Rockets. Granted, it's opening night, but that's just my thoughts on that matchup in general. So the other matchup for opening night is Warriors at Lakers. Talk to me. Who you got?
I like what they did with the Al Horford situation. I don't think the Lakers have too much to threaten them on the inside, especially Brun's gonna be sidelined for a couple weeks. So give me the Warriors open night.
Okay. Cool. Funny enough, I like LA in this one too. I like the Lakers on opening night. I know LeBron is going to be out for a couple of games, but honestly, I think that that's a good thing for Luca. I know his usage rate probably going to skyrocket with LeBron, and it's never a bad thing when Luca Doncic has the ball in his hands running your show. I think the game is probably going to depend on if Aiden can be a true lob threat, if Aiden and Luca can get in sync, and what kind of effort Luca decides to give us on defense. But for me personally, I think Aiden can be a big problem for Golden State, especially since they don't have a real big. He can be a problem on the glass, both defensive and offensive. So I think that if Aiden can come out and give us something, I think that the Lakers can squeeze away with that one. Um, but so that was it for opening night matchups. On the next episode of Successful Habits, we'll probably more than likely end up doing a recap of all the games next week because we got a lot of basketball coming up, Coach. A lot of
Yeah.
basketball coming up. So I can't wait to get ready to break down some film, break down some of these matchups that occurred next week, both NBA and in college, as we get ready to get into the college season 2. I'm super duper excited. This was the first official episode of season 2. Before we let y'all go, my last words for y'all is number one, I cannot say how much I appreciate all of the love and all the support that we get from every single person on every single episode that we drop, all of the feedback, all of the back and forth that we get on social media under all of our posts. Everything is always wholesome, you know what I mean? We don't always agree on things, but it never gets out of hand. So I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support for the platform that we build. And before I hand it over to Coach West to give you guys his last words of advice for this episode, I just want to say make sure that no matter what you got going on in your life, whether it be the grind for work, school, whatever it is, make sure that you stop and make time for family. Bro. Nothing is bigger than your family. Always make some time to spend time with your folks, man. So that's my last words. Coach, what you got to say to everybody before we let them go?
Man, hope you all have a great week. Continue to grind. Continue to, just work on becoming a better version of yourself. Basketball season is around the corner. So all of my hopers, I wish for a safe and healthy season, a prosperous season. Just continue to stack days, continue to get better, continue to believe in yourself, continue to trust the man above, and everything will work out exactly how it's supposed to. So if you're watching this, man, thank you for tuning in. Continue to like, share, subscribe, do everything that you need to do to, reach that best version of yourself.
100%. And last but not least, make sure you turn those notifications on so you get alerted every single time we drop a video. And on behalf of the Successful Habits crew, God is good, and we out.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.